I get 800 every month from my job.
Yes, sir.
I don't have a father. And my mama. For everything.
You'll notice I wrote two different things, because one is correct and one is incorrect, so those are two different things I've seen around the classroom.
So she doesn't. I'm student. But it's like.
It's not in color.
I'm over it.
Okay, I know I have rules about
Nah, dude.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So up here, I want you to notice I've written two different things. These are the two answers I've seen around the classroom, where it's 3 minus 1, and I think everyone got a 2. But I've also seen 2i minus a negative 6i to get 8i, but I've also seen 2i minus 6i to get a minus 4i. Only one of those can be correct.
It's 2 minus
2 minus 4. I put 800 on the same.
Minus
8i. You want minus 4i?
Minus 8i.
KT is very convinced it's plus 8i.
It's 2.
Hey, Preston. No, why are you talking while Preston's trying to ask you a question? Say again. Okay, so you distributed the negative 1. Remember, when subtracting, you can rewrite that as adding a negative, right? What is a negative 1 times 1? 1. So I'm going to add, that's going to be a negative 1, right? And a negative times a negative would be a... So it's supposed to be minus 4i or plus 8i?
Plus 8i.
Plus 8i.
Okay, so I need y'all to pay attention to this because I know where this mistake came from, but we have to recognize if you approached it this way, it's 2i minus, there's already a negative. When you subtract a negative, what do you end up doing? Adding, right? So we should have gotten 2 plus 8i. Remember, you can graph it if you want to check yourself, but to subtract a negative, you need to add. Okay? B. Anybody have a question about or want to push on where I got with B? No? Okay? So I want to point this out. I need you to hear me very clearly on this. When I look at B, it is mostly correct, but you would get a 5p, not a 6. Now, one, you also need to justify a little bit more, explain how things are going. Like I said, I saw Jaquan do a great job of showing 4i plus I equals 5i. That was a great breakdown of that, okay? But also, that is not going to be 100% correct. Does anyone know why this would not be completely correct? Okay, so I would rewrite this as that is what is correct. Why? The real comes first. When you write an imaginary number, you need it as a plus bi. The real part comes first. Again, I want you to note, I said if you justify it well, you can still earn a 5p, right? A 5 is still a good score, but in order to earn those 5.5s and those 6s, you have to have the correct notation on there. A plus bi is how we write a complex number. Okay. Now C. Is that correct? I what? I squared. This is something that a lot of y'all have been asking me so far, and we want to notice we do end up with an I times an I. Anything times itself is, so 15i minus 10i squared. So am I done?
Oh, you gotta split it. You gotta split it.
We don't have like terms.
No. You're trying to change it.
Okay, so there's not an a plus bi. Say this one more time, Keyshawn. Oh, that's right. We know I squared is what? Negative 1. So we do want to write that as minus 10 times -1. You go with the fact that I squared is -1? So we want to simplify. Whenever you get that I squared, it is -1. So rewrite it. So I'm still not quite done. How would I want to write this final answer? Is it -10 plus 15i? Remember, that's a negative times a negative, so that's a positive 10. So 15i maybe plus 10, or you could have jumped straight to 10 plus 15i. This is the final answer that you should have, but you could have jumped there without showing this extra step. But we do want to notice, right? We have two negatives being multiplied, so that would be a positive.
Hey, you got a base, man.
What is this?
Buzz cut?
Base. What you say your bob when you do it?
I don't know. She's been cutting my hair for like 4 years. Huh? Yeah.
What?
I've been going to her for 4 years. She knows how to cut my hair. I'm actually going to her tonight. What? I can't hear. Alright, let's bring it back, So how am I going to tackle D?
Distribute.
Ooh, do I need to combine like terms or I need to distribute? It's being multiplied, so I need to distribute. What's 5 times 2? 10. 5 times -3i. -15i. 3i times 2 plus 6i. And then minus 9i squared. So what do I need to do? What do you say? Okay, combine like terms. Now when you say combine like terms, that's more of an algebraic idea. Thinking about these numbers, what numbers are the same?
Real parties.
We want to add reals and we want to add imaginaries.
You only got one real.
You sure about that?
No.
It's got two.
Where's the second one?
-9 times -1.
-9i squared. We cannot forget that whenever I see that I squared, that's a -1. So I actually have 10 minus 15i plus 6i minus 9 times -1. I'm going to show that extra step. It is plus what? Plus 9 instead, right? Okay, so what is my final answer? That's not my final answer. What's the final answer from here? Okay, where'd you get 19 from? When you subtract that -9, right, you end up adding, right? So it's a positive 9. So 10 plus 9 is 19. And then what's -15i plus 6i? Minus 9i. What are your questions, comments, or concerns? We got 13 minutes. 12 minutes.
I know I'm doing. What's yours?
Okay. Any questions, comments, or concerns at this point? Okay, so if you want to break down a little bit more of how this is happening, remember, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that minus 9i. If you have two negatives being multiplied, it becomes what? What's 10 plus 9? So remember, if you need that extra step shown in there, let me know. But that's how that's coming in there, Casey. All right. Number 2 says determine the each product. So we're going to distribute. So all these are multiplying? Okay. Let's do this. Group 1, I want you to do A. Group 2, I want you to do B. Group 3, I want you to do C. Group 4, your D. Group 5, your A. And Group 6, your B.
Why you give up these?
You got a lot. Come on with it. You got calculators?
One.
M1
I squared.
So remember, what is that, hold on, what is that fraction bar? What symbol is that? So 1/2 divide, or so 1 divided by 2. Times.
That would cancel this.
Plus 1/2. Wait, I plus I.
So you trying this one?
It'll be 0 when. No. It'll be 0.
Zero times one. Or wait, is it gonna be small?
And that would be 4, would it be 4 minus I squared?
I don't think it is.
I know one is.
It's not.
I know there's a whole bunch of.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of.
I would distribute, try distributing and see what you get.
Yeah.
I 0. I think it's 0.
Say again?
It is, okay, it's not raised to 0. Yeah, I do.
Hey, by the way, what's 1/2 times 1/2?
One.
You sure about that?
Am I done?
I think 1/2 plus 1/2.
Oh.
You don't need a calculator, it's easy to multiply fractions. What's 1 times 1? 2 times 2. Okay?
You thought you had it, huh? I'm sorry.
Go back, that's not gonna be.
Excuse me, bro. That was the most horrible day ever. Do what? So it'd be 1 with I.
When you distribute it regularly, finish distributing it regularly.
So it'd be 2 plus remember
Thank you. I think, if I heard correctly, that you all, even if you didn't quite finish yet, you all noticed the most important detail that I wanted you to notice. What happens to the middle terms in every single one of these products?
They equal 0.
They cancel out, but more accurately, what's the word?
They equal 0.
They, not equal, they
Add up.
add up to 0. We talked about this yesterday. Why in these cases would the middle terms add up to 0?
Factors are the same.
Okay, so the binomials are the same, but one is adding and the other is subtracting. There was a special name for this case.
Well, I remember.
Do you? What is it called?
Wait, the difference of squares.
Well, you don't think about that. Difference of squares?
Yeah, I went.
No, that's it.
No, it's not.
That's not it? So,
They just say factors of squares. They just-
I want y'all to look here.
What?
Hold on. I want you to look right here. 9 is what being squared? Nothing squared gives us 9.
Oh, 3.
Oh, 3 squared? You mean because we did 3 times 3? 3 squared? And then we do have a minus here at the end because that middle term is a 0. We have, yeah, isn't 9 3 squared?
Oh, I thought it's
Xavier.
He confused.
Hey, Xavier. Xavier. You understand how I got 9, right?
He's just saying 3 squared.
Xavier, do you understand that that's a 9? Okay, I need y'all to pay attention to this. I need a conversation stop. I need you to notice this. Remember, how did I get that 9? from 3 times
3.
3. Can't I rewrite 3 times 3 is 3 squared?
Yes.
Yeah, why you doing that?
Because what's the name of this, Xavier? The name that you can't remember.
Difference of squares.
It's a difference of what?
Square.
Okay? Xavier, I'm trying to get you there to understand this. How did we get 4i squared? Because that's what being squared? 2i,
Times 2, or negative.
well, it's 2i times 2i, which is 2i squared. That's why the name of this is a difference of squares. And so, what do you notice about each product? The middle terms create a, add to what?
Zero.
Zero, the middle terms. Add to 0. And so this is going to matter a whole lot in activity 6.5. But I want to point out, if you notice, well, by the way, what's the name of all this again?
Difference of squares.
Okay, so when the binomials are the same, but one is what?
Add.
Adding. And the other subtracting. Then we have a what? Difference of squares. That's a big, big, big deal in the world of mathematics. The difference of squares shows up consistently. And the reason why I would point this out is, one, can you just distribute?
No.
I mean, that's what all of you did, wasn't it? You all distributed? But if I just gave you 2 plus 5i times 2 minus 5i, we would want to recognize that's going to create a what? A difference of squares. So it is going to create a 0 in the middle, but instead of having to go through the whole distribution process, that means I'm going to have 2 squared minus what? Not 5 squared, 5i squared.
Photo list for 11:35. That's Space Club at 11:35. The second announcement, students have money and
We're not quite
funds for
done.
National Honor Society or Beta Club. It must be paid and turned in today. See Ms. Hydrick for National Honor Society and Ms. Strawhorn for Beta Club.
Okay?
Thank you.
Do not forget though that what is, so 2 squared is 4 minus 5 squared is? 5 times 5 is 25. But what is I squared? 4 plus 25, which is 29. Y'all, we should have gotten a 5 here. We should have gotten 5/4 here. Should have gotten 10 here. And 13 here. Those final answers, because if I'm subtracting a -1, how do you subtract a negative? You're going to add. So 5 is the correct answer. 1/4 minus a -1.
13.
That would have been 9 minus 4 times -1 gives me 13.
Oh, yeah.
Hold up. Excuse me. Is this your classroom or is this my classroom? It's my classroom. Did I say to back up yet? No. Okay? Hold up. I'm still giving instruction about things that you need to know how to do. So you should have been holding off. We still had 90 seconds, which I know seems like nothing to you, but if you're packing up already, you're not getting this information. Okay? You need to pay attention. And you cannot pack yet. What I want to point out to you is, this is where we're going to stop on activity 6.4. We're not going to worry about number 3. We are picking up on activity 6.5 tomorrow. This is the final lesson in our unit. We will finish up activity 6.5, and the earlier we get done, the more time you have to practice, because we have an understanding check on Thursday. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Kids on Tuesday.
Test on Monday.
No.
Yes.
On Monday?
On Monday!
Pretty good.
Okay. Here are your reflections and practice assignments. Because, excuse me, pay attention, because we have not gotten there yet, for this practice, don't do number 6.
So don't do number 6.
That's the only one.
So what number we doing?
It's on the board.
What number is say I can't see?
So, do all of the practice except number 6 and the review. I intentionally selected all of these because they're going to help you review for the understanding check and they're going to help you prepare for the test. I don't ever ask you to do anything without a reason. So you got your practice, you got your reflections. The end of lesson 6. So on page 113. Have a great rest of your day. Better day than my pants are having. I'm glad that they do that. All of that. They're all good practice.
Miss Kenny, you gonna whoop your child every time you get a mouth on the wrong way.
Why would I whoop them? I'm going to teach them to learn from his mistakes. How often do I punish y'all because you don't learn?
You can't punish him.
That's not true. I could say, oh man, you made a 50, that's it, you're done. No, instead, I give you a chance to learn from your mistakes, to grow, and earn a higher score. That's the same way I'm going to operate with my kid.
Oh, made me cry. That was made me cry. Oh, you got 50?
I don't care what's happened in the past. I care about the future, Caleb. Whooping someone doesn't help them grow.